Then he said to them, "These are my words that I spoke to you while I was still with you, that everything written about me in the law of Moses, the prophets, the Psalms must be fulfilled." Then he opened their minds to understand the scriptures, and he said to them, "Thus it is written that the Messiah is to suffer and rise from the dead on the third day, and that repentance and forgiveness of sins is to be proclaimed in his name to all nations, beginning in Jerusalem. You are witnesses of these things, and see, I am sending upon you what my Father promised. So stay here in the city until you have been clothed with power from on high." Then he led them out as far as Bethany, and lifting up his hands, he blessed them. While he was blessing them, he withdrew from them and was carried up into heaven. And they worshiped him and returned to Jerusalem with great joy. And they were continually in the temple blessing God. The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. You may be seated. Christ has no body now but yours, no hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes through which he looks, compassion on this world. Yours are the feet with which he walks to do good. Yours are the hands with which he blesses all the world. Yours are the hands. Yours are the feet. Yours are the eyes. You are his body. Christ has no body now but yours, no hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes through which he looks, compassion on this world. Christ has no body now on earth but yours. When was the last time you were overwhelmed with joy? Now, outside of having grandchildren, for me, it was late in the fourth quarter, and Alabama was driving. They had the Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young, manning their offense, driving down the field, and Alabama was in Georgia's territory. It was third down. There were 54 seconds left to go. Georgia was leading, but not by much. And all I could think of at that moment, I even said to Julie, "It's over," was how Alabama was going to miraculously pull the rug out from under us again. I had fully prepared myself for yet another letdown at the hands of Alabama. So Bryce Young steps back and he throws the ball. And rather than landing in the hands of the Alabama receiver, it landed right in the hands of Keely Ringo, the Georgia quarterback, who runs it all the way back for a touchdown, and he seals a national championship for the Georgia Bulldogs after 41 painful years. And as soon as Ringo caught that ball, I jumped up from my chair. I ran around the house yelling like a banshee. I was completely oblivious to the fact that Ringo had run that interception all the way back for a touchdown. I didn't know. I was so overwhelmed with joy that even I didn't even see what happened after he caught the ball, because I knew when he caught it, we won. I was oblivious to the fact that Julie was yelling, "Run, run, run, touchdown!" I was completely in my own world of overwhelming joy at the moment. And when I was done running around the house after my little celebratory victory lap, I sat down in my chair, I looked at the score, and I said, "Julie, when did we score a touchdown?" She laughed at me. She often laughs at me. And here's the thing. This was days before I was having my second surgery on my neck. So I was in a lot of pain. But I didn't even notice the pain. I didn't even think about the pain. And I got to thinking, maybe that's what joy is. Joy is hard to define. But maybe that's what it is. Maybe joy is a disposition and an attitude that helps us to forget about our pain, or at least put our pain in perspective. Maybe that's the best definition of joy. Now, when was the last time you were overwhelmed with joy? Was it the birth of a child or the return of a loved one, maybe from deployment, someone you haven't seen in years? Or how about your dog, who after a long day of missing you while you're at work greets you with the kind of joy that you wish every human would greet you with? It's amazing to me how you can accidentally step on a dog's tail. They yelp like they've been, close to death. And then you reach down to give an apology pet, and then they wag their tail and they jump up and down and they're smiling at you. Talk about joy overcoming pain. Dogs know how to do that. If only we could all have the overwhelming joy as consistently as dogs seem to have. The thing about these occasions for joy, and it goes for all the examples I've mentioned, is these occasions for joy are always about an entrance into our life. Whether, it's never an exit. We don't get joyful over an exit. Whether it's a national championship after 41 years, a newborn baby, the return of someone we love, joy is the occasion. Joy is the reaction to an entrance into our lives, or a new again thing. So today we're reading this passage from Luke, and it says the disciples were overwhelmed with joy. Today is the Sunday we're celebrating the Ascension of Jesus Christ, when he ascends into heaven. The day is actually Thursday, but we put it at either side, one of the Sundays closest to it. And I have that right to move it if we need to. But we don't celebrate on Thursday. We don't come to church on Thursday, but we should. The Ascension doesn't get enough attention. It's just like Epiphany. We just kind of gloss over the Epiphany. We gloss over Ascension. But the Ascension is super important, because the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ makes absolutely no sense. None without the Ascension. And the Pentecost experience makes no sense without the Ascension. So today I chose two different readings about the Ascension. You'll kind of see why later. So in this reading from Luke, it says the disciples were overwhelmed with joy at Jesus' ascension, which is really weird to me, because he's going away. Remember, the occasion for our joy is usually about an entrance, not an exit. And so why would the disciples be so joyful after Jesus is leaving them? Not just joyful, they were overwhelmed with joy. And I think we can only understand that when we properly understand what the ascension of Jesus Christ means, what it means for us. The best way to understand the disciples' joy at Jesus leaving is to understand what the ascension means. And so when we read about the ascension, and we imagine in our heads Jesus rising up into heaven, we think about Jesus. Jesus has left the building, just like Elvis, right? Jesus is leaving this earth. That's not the way to think about it. We think about Jesus going to another time, another place, completely different than this earth. We think about him ascending into heaven. He's going up to a galaxy far, far away. But that's not how we should think about the ascension. But part of the reason we think about it that way is because we misunderstand heaven and earth. We often think of heaven as some faraway place that's radically different than this world. Two different spaces, completely different from each other. There's the world, and there's heaven way, way out there somewhere we don't know. But the scriptures don't talk about heaven like that. I mean, we read it like that, but that's not how the scriptures understand. That's not how the Jewish people understood heaven. They didn't understand heaven and earth like this. Here's earth and here's heaven over here. They understood heaven and earth like this. They were interlocked. They were in the same world. That's why the scriptures talk about, especially in Revelation, where he says, I saw a new heaven and a new earth. The heaven and earth that we live in, the heavens above, the earth below, they are going to be made new when Jesus comes back. It will be redeemed. All of this will be redeemed and perfected, just like Eden. We're not destined for some faraway galaxy. We're destined for here, a perfect here. So the ascension is about Jesus connecting himself with the earth more fully than when he was on the earth. He is bringing heaven and earth together when he rises up. Now, I'm going to have to explain this in a different way because maybe that's not very clear. But does anybody remember what Jesus said to Mary Magdalene after the resurrection? Anybody? He said, Mary, don't hold on to me. Don't hold on to me. Now, Jesus wasn't saying to Mary, don't touch me, don't hug me, get away from me. He wasn't saying that to Mary. He was telling Mary, you need to let go of me. And let me go. Let me ascend. Because Mary, if you let me ascend, if you let me go, you'll never lose me again, like you thought you lost me when I died. Let go of me, Mary, and you will never lose me. That's what he was saying. If Jesus stays there with Mary, letting her hold on to him, then he's only there with Mary. He's nowhere else. If he stays there with Mary, he's only in Jerusalem with her. He's in one place at one particular time. He says, don't hold on to me. But Mary, if you let me go, I can be with you and I can be with everyone. I can be with you and I can be with everyone. I won't just be here in Jerusalem with you, Mary, if you let me go. I will be everywhere in this world. I'll be in Europe. I'll be in Africa. I'll be in Mexico. I'll be in Palestine. I'll be in the United States of America. I'll be in Asia, South America, Australia, North Pole, South Pole. I will be with you, Mary. If you let me go, I will be with you here and everywhere. At the same time, you will never lose me again, Mary, if you let me go. Everyone will have me with them, and you will too. Think about the kind of overwhelming joy you would have if you knew you would never, ever lose a loved one again. Think about if I knew I'd never lose Julie to cancer or dementia or any other disease or circumstance that has robbed many of you of your loved ones, of your time on earth with your loved ones. If I knew I would never lose Julie to any of that, I would have overwhelming joy. And that's why I chose the other reading from Acts. Because those two white-robed men in Acts, they say to the disciples, why are you looking up? Why are you looking up to heaven? The same Jesus you see going up into heaven is going to come back to you in the same way. And he wasn't just talking about the second coming. He wasn't talking. We misread it if we think when he says that, he was talking about Jesus coming back. He was speaking about more. They were speaking about more than that. They were talking about Jesus coming back in a new way. A new way that will enable Jesus to be in all places at all times. A new way where Jesus will not only be in Jerusalem, but in all the world. That new way we will celebrate in 2 weeks. That new way is Pentecost, where the Spirit comes and the Spirit of Jesus Christ is in you and everybody all over the world. So those two white-robed men were saying to the disciples, don't look up, look out. I love the way Timothy Keller, the great preacher, describes the ascension of Jesus. He says, when Jesus ascended into heaven, it was like a bomb going off, like a rocket ship ascending into the sky, and the smoke billows out all over the world. The ascension means that Jesus is no longer in one place. Jesus' body is now in every place. And I'm not just talking about some invisible spiritual way. Jesus' actual body is now all over the world. His actual body is now in Jerusalem. His actual body is now in Europe. His actual body is now in Africa and in Asia, in South America, the North Pole, the South Pole. His body, his actual body is in Ukraine and in Russia and in Canada, in Japan, in China, in Australia. His actual body is in Alamance County, North Carolina. Because now his body is your body. You are his body. Thanks be to God. Jesus picked 12 flawed men of no account. 12 men who no one in their right mind these days would select them for an interview after reading their resume. 12 men who were at times boneheaded, lazy, and arrogant. 2 of them wanted to carpet bomb Samaria. 1 of them was a thief and a traitor, and the leader of them all was at times clueless, impetuous, and a coward. Jesus saw how messed up these disciples were after he showed them his resurrected body. After he showed them his alive again body, after he showed them all of that glory, they still crouched in fears behind locked doors. They went fishing instead of telling everybody about it. They couldn't get it right even then. And rather than ascending into heaven, we will all understand if Jesus said, "No, I'm not going. I'm going to handle this right here by myself." But he didn't. He left those imperfect disciples in charge. He left us imperfect disciples in charge. He left us with his body. He made our bodies into his body. St. Teresa of Avila, one of the great Christian writers and mystics, she lived in the 16th century, and she wrote one of the most beautiful poems in all of church history, and I sang it for you earlier. Christ has no body now but yours. No hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes through which he looks compassion on this world. Yours are the feet with which he walks to do good. Yours are the hands through which he blesses all the world. Yours are the hands. Yours are the feet. Yours are the eyes. You are his body. Christ has no body now on earth but yours. Jesus Christ ascended into heaven not to go away from us, but to be with all people. And he entrusted us with that. He entrusted us with his resurrected body. He entrusted us to show the whole world what a resurrected body looks like. What a life who has been redeemed by his love and grace looks like. And that's why the disciples were overwhelmed with joy. Jesus did not leave them. He became them. And we have that joy because Jesus' body is now our body. We get to be Jesus' body in the world and for the world. We get that privilege. We get that honor. Screw-ups though we are, we still get the privilege of being Christ's body here on earth. We get to be the connection between heaven and earth. We get to be heaven and earth. Now go act like it. Let us take a moment of silence.